Hey there, I hope you're having a great day. Welcome to PhD Weekly, episode 11. This is a series where I reflect on my past week in grad school, sharing a lesson or idea with you, as well as a highlight, stressor, and feelings update. I'm RKPhD. I am working on my PhD in computational biosciences at Baylor College of Medicine. I'm a first-gen college student, just sharing my honest thoughts, reflections, opinions here with you. And so this week, I'm focusing on applying to fellowships as a first-year graduate student. And reason I think it's a little different as a first-year graduate student, if you don't know, a lot of your classes are taken throughout your first year to first 2 years of grad school. So I have yet to take my grant class where I actually learn how to write a grant. So I'm actually just kind of piecing together my application along as I go. Now, this wasn't originally my plan, but the reason this is happening is because there was a big change in the National Science Foundation NSF grant for the GRFP, Graduate Research Fellowship Program. Normally, first and second year grad students can apply, but with the current government administration and all their wisdom decided, you know what, let's go ahead and make it only first years, not second years. So even though currently without a actual lab mentor, I haven't picked a lab that I'm going to be working on my thesis research in, and I don't have a mentor to actually specifically be committed to the research that I'm going to be doing, I'm still applying to a fellowship. So it's definitely an interesting time. But also, that means I'd have to go ahead and actually scramble to figure out a research proposal that I want to propose. And I don't have necessarily as much experience as, let's say, a second year who's gone through a grant writing course. So I have not done that yet. So I'm going to be sharing really how I've been approaching working on applying for a first year or applying for a graduate research fellowship, even though I'm only in my first year of the PhD. Going to share some thoughts and ideas. I know this will change in the next year or two as I take more courses and get some more exposure to the grant application world. But I want to share some interesting ways that I'm also approaching it as well. But first, feelings update. Overall, I'd say I'm feeling focused. Definitely, GRFP came out with their solicitation. That is when they come out with the rules for how to apply for this grant. They came out with it just a few days ago, maybe a week ago now. And that only gives us about a month and a half to actually apply for this grant, when normally you have several months to apply for this grant. So very much condensed, but I'm using this sort of sense of urgency to just stay focused on applying for the grant itself. It goes back to if you procrastinate till the last day, kind of you definitely have that fire under your butt to just go ahead and get the work done. I'm not saying procrastinate, but it's that sense of urgency that you get from procrastination. Definitely having that now. So feeling focused. Now, really, when it comes to applying to fellowship as a first-year grad student, I really broke it down into really 4 key areas. So let's just break it down. First of all, the rules. You want to go ahead and read this grant solicitation. Understand what it is the grant is looking for in applicants. Get an idea of what the mission, the point, what is the purpose of this grant? What are they trying to support? What are they looking for? And even more specifically, if you can, at least for this GRFP, they have specific merit, specific criteria that they look for in your application, where they have listed, we are looking for X, Y, and Z. So go through the solicitation where you can actually read the rules of the grant and read the actual criteria needed to apply for the grant. And you can highlight, great, this is what they're looking for in their grant. Make sure I'm thinking about this. Make sure I'm talking about this and presenting my application in a way where I really answer these key questions. And so one, I found that to be very helpful because when it comes to writing, at least for me, I need very much directed questions to help me have a direction, have a purpose to write, or else what's the point of writing this? Understand the rules. The rules. I always think of Fairly Odd Parents. Again, that'll help you get the criteria. Secondly, reflection. You want to take time to reflect on your story, reflect on your achievements. And what I like to do is I take a pad folio and I have a prompt at the top and I just spitball just any ideas, thoughts that I think could fit in terms of the prompt, question, problem that I'm trying to answer. Just vomit it all up on the page or type it all up on your Word doc and just put it all out there. Any ideas that come to mind, just put it on the page. Give yourself as much time as you need to just word vomit a bunch of ideas. Then from there, once you feel like, okay, you're done throwing up, see if you can find this common red thread, a common theme in all or most of the ideas that you've written down. And if there's certain ideas where you think, okay, on its own, it wouldn't stand, but maybe I can start moving it as a supporting idea for this bigger idea. So you can start sort of piecing together your vomit into like more cohesive structure, into actual a cohesive narrative, a cohesive thread. And that way you start to develop a story that you want to sort of follow. You have a blueprint, right? So figure out as you're reflecting, what do you want to say about yourself? And if you're still kind of stuck on the reflection, maybe you're not used to talking about yourself in this sort of very kind of gloaty, positive way. I know I still feel a little weird having to have a say in terms of like writing like about my achievements. It's still kind of weird to me. What I found also helps is I use AI, use like ChatGPT or Claude, and just tell it like, imagine you are a grad student thinking about whatever either research problem you're trying to answer or like a personal statement. What are 10 to 20 questions that can help you have a more focused, directed essay about yourself and your own achievements? And I found those questions can help. Just cherry pick questions that really intrigue you, that definitely spark your creativity, curiosity, your thinking. And I found that definitely helps me kind of just get the writing juices flowing. Just make a paragraph or two or however long you feel you need to answer the questions that really stuck out to you. And that way, even if it's not fully directed towards the personal statement that you're trying to write for whatever this grant is, you have some key ideas. You're starting to find some themes. You're starting to find some motives, motivation of why you tick or how you tick, all of that. So make sure you're reflecting. Then step 3, I would say, is make sure you're thinking about your letter of recommendations in terms of be prepared to reach out to PIs. What I found is it's generally helpful to have some sort of a quick write-up to give to your mentors, just telling them briefly what is the fellowship that you're applying to. Most of the time, they're not going to know the grant that you're applying to unless it's kind of a well-known grant. But generally speaking, besides like a handful of research grants, there's going to be a lot of fellowships that you apply to. They're probably just not going to know. So just giving them a 2-sentence idea of what is this fellowship about, what kind of support does this fellowship provide, maybe even, but then most importantly, what is the point of the fellowship? So the PI knows how to phrase their letters of recommendation. Is this fellowship focused on the potential that this student has to achieve creative research ideas? Or is this fellowship more on leadership, more on service to their community? Those are 2 completely different letters of recommendations. You would want to word it slightly differently. One is more focused on, of course, the technical, like the research side of the student's thinking, versus the other one is very much, can the student lead? Does the student take initiative? Are they more community driven? Talking about that idea. So it allows the PI to be able to really figure out how to frame their letter of recommendation. And I've also found, use AI to your benefit. Whatever fellowship you're applying to, even the GRFP, just go ahead and have AI just write like a brief key ideas of what the fellowship's about. Of course, tweak it to your advantage. You don't want to just like take it straight, because it's not going to help you. It's not going to be as effective as if you were to sort of guide the AI, but it can make a markdown file or a Word doc or PDF of the actual grant you're applying to. And you can have a quick little handout to give to PIs. That's one simple but very effective way I've been able to use AI to really just stand out with mentors. Just have AI create a quick little like PDF for you. Make sure you review it. Make sure you adjust it. But it's very helpful. It makes one-on-one meetings go by way quicker and just get to the point. So it's very helpful. Point number 4, what is your research proposal? Of course, this is specifically for grants that you're applying to that are focused on, you have to propose some sort of new research idea or research topic. Now, the reason I save this for last, the idea is you're really working on all four of these at the same time. But in terms of priority list, you have an idea of the research, but you're not fully committed and focused on the research you're going to be doing just yet. Why? Because while you're reading the rules, while you're reflecting on your own life, your own story, your own achievements, and while you're meeting with PIs, you should be taking time to get an idea of the literature out there in terms of what research you want to propose. Start reading papers, start getting an idea, a small pulse of what kind of research you want to actually start learning more about or even proposing. With the research proposal, I save it for last because you want to give yourself the most amount of time to work on really the research proposal. At least for me, I found I need the most amount of time when it comes to the research proposal, but that's because I know personally my weakest point in terms of being a scientist and a thinker is the technical side because I don't have as many years as a lot of my fellow colleagues in research, right? So I need a lot more time to actually just understand the landscape, understand the verbiage, understand all the jargon that's used in research and in biology. Ideally, you're working on all four of these main ideas at the same time, but you've picked out your mentors and you've at least asked them, can you vouch for me? Can you write a letter of rec? And then you're also taking time to really work on your research proposal. But yes, so overall, when it comes to applying to the fellowship, at least as a first year grad student, think about what's the criteria, what are the rules that you're going to be applying to for this fellowship. Then secondly, reflect on your achievements, on your story. What do you want to convey to the the fellowship committee? Then thirdly, letter of recs. Are you making sure you have PIs, mentors that will vouch for you and really actually understand you as a person? If there's something specific you want to be sort of telling in your letters of rec, make sure the PIs you meet with know that about you. Make sure you maybe when you're briefing them about what fellowship you're applying to, you talk about, oh, by the way, I've done X, Y, and Z. Or maybe even after the one-on-one, you send them an email saying, thank you so much for meeting with me. Just so you know, here's a quick bullet point list of some of my achievements or whatever, insert highlight here. Then, of course, fourth, you're thinking about your research proposal if it's a research focused type of grant. Again, this is what I found is working for me. I need the most amount of time to be able to commit time and energy and just ebbs and flows of being able to read papers, sleep, come back to the research refreshed, read, sleep, and just kind of continue to iterate on the research side of things. So that's my overall process when it comes to applying to research grants. A big highlight for the week, I absolutely loved the brass dinner. So I had the opportunity to be part of the BRASS. It's called the Baylor Research Advocates for Student Scientists. This is a community focused on advocating for researchers, for scientific researchers at Baylor College of Medicine, and they provide mentorship, guidance, as well as some financial support to be able to further expand on my PhD journey, my PhD research. And so they select 4 students every year, so it's quite an honor. And I've really enjoyed just getting to meet the other like brass fellows, the other awardees of this brass award. And so really nice. Everybody's really cool. It's so impressive to get to meet all these other people doing a lot of like biomedical research. Definitely sometimes I feel like the imposter syndrome comes up for me, but I have to remind myself like it's okay. We're here, we deserve this. We're making progress as well. But it's just amazing and crazy to think like, wow, like look at these people like making progress, like achieving all these things. It's quite mind blowing. But I thought it was really cool. And this was great to meet all these like wonderful philanthropists who are there to just support you and just root for you and be cheerleaders for you. Really love that. Then a stressor for the week has really been I have a midterm coming up. So a foundations A. Again, this is just molecular and genetics course all compressed into a 2-term or 16-week class, but it meets 3 times a week. So it's very intense, meant to pretty much get everybody on the same page when it comes to the biology background. So for me, it's a lot of new material, but I love it. It's definitely a lot. It's 3 times a week for like 2 hours. So it's quite a bit. But just keeping up with that and trying to study for that has definitely been the key stressor, especially the concepts and ideas that I've probably never even heard of before that class. That's really getting me at this point. So it's just a lot of studying. So overall, really enjoying the week. Definitely some great, interesting changes to be focusing on while trying to get back into the flow of things for this second term of the first year. But overall, still really enjoying it. That's been my experience for this past week. I appreciate you being here, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Take care.